Welcome back to Backroom Convos. I am your host, Lesego M, aka Future Short, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. Listen, if you are a fan of ports, stay tuned because you might like what we are cooking. So the song of the day is No Guidance by Drake featuring Chris Brown. The song currently sits at 1 billion as we speak. Very nice song. I think for a lot of you who listened to the song 2 years ago, you would probably relate to why the song is sitting at 1 billion views, at 1 billion listens rather, because it's on Spotify, and this is Spotify alone, by the way. I was listening to the song, I was like, oh, this is something that, I had to like a throwback nyana. I needed to have a throwback nyana, so this was a proper throwback. And I was also listening to Easy by Danny Lee and Chris Brown. That's also another throwback. I was like, oh, like, the guys are like putting in and like they made nice music. So yeah, man, it's a Wednesday morning. How is everything? How is everybody? How's your morning? Do let me know in the comment section. I am your host, Lesego M, aka Shoot Your Shot. And maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. So please, guys, do not forget to follow, like, and subscribe to get a notification for each and every time I drop a new episode. It's a Wednesday. So yeah, it's episode 123 as we speak. So yeah, man, I think on the last episode, let's get on to it. I think on the last episode we were talking about Monday movie review, and I did happen to talk about the Trump story. I did the saga. I gave you an update or like the news heads up for the people that didn't know about the incident that happened with Trump. So yeah. And firstly, before I think I start with everything or anything rather in this show, I think I need to like proper apologize to the people who are listeners of the podcast Backroom Convos. And the reason why I'm going to apologize to you is simply because I think I did come, to the platform not like verifying the source of the people that gave me the information or where I sourced the information. So I think I came in and I didn't use the word allegedly. So that's the first red flag that that was my first red flag. So I was supposed to say allegedly. So I think there was some lady, I can't pronounce her name, I can't even say her name on the platform. So she did come say, Kuti, like the Trump incident was actually a marketing strategy, and they happened to highlight a moment. I think this particular, not the same, but something similar to this to, help sway the narrative to Trump's advantage, and obviously the viewers are going up, the reach, the audience. If something like this happens, and the reach, obviously, it's reaching a lot of people. And all these rallies don't really need, because now everybody's talking about it, is talking about Trump, So that was one side of the story. It's like, if this was truly a marketing strategy, the team is brilliant, it's brilliant. And I saw, and I was watching some of the people who are like, working the gun ranges. Like a gun range is where like people start shooting at some things. They have a pointer there. I don't know what to do. I think it's a gun range. I think. Do correct me on the comment section if you know the proper word. So I think, for lack of a better word, I'll just say a gun range. So like a guy who's an expert in guns, he was like, this person, he was using this particular gun when shooting at Trump. And if you know anything about guns, basically giving us a breakdown of the incident. Okay, like, if this guy, like, there's no way you can do that. Even if you are someone who's like proper military trained, you can't like proper. If you wanted to like place an ear proper, like, you can't, because there's wind speed to consider. And this guy, like, as we say, he didn't have a spotter, so he was all alone. The name of the guy we are talking about is Thomas Matthew Crooks, right? So he didn't have a spotter, and the guy at the range said, like, for the people who are saying this was planned, it doesn't make sense, So which I was like, okay, like we are taking in perspective from someone who's an expert at guns, to correct me there. So he's an expert in guns, and he's like the chances, and he was like showing a skull, like it wasn't Trump's skull. He was saying, like the fact that Trump shifted his head a bit when that happened, it saved him from like the bullet actually penetrating his skull and like hitting the brain. So the fact that he just shifted a bit, it just like like for that to happen in that minute, it shows it's a stretch for that to be a marketing strategy. It's a stretch for that to happen, So I think I do take that into consideration now. Because actually, this actually makes sense, because I think then I didn't have, again, my opinion was influenced by the masses because everyone was talking about it. And even though I was like one of the few people who saw this in the EMs in South Africa, and I was like, oh, okay, like I didn't think that I even need to talk about it until I saw a day or two after, when I was like, oh, everyone was like all over it, and they were like, yo, story this, story that, and everyone was talking about it. So this is what's going to shock you. I know in the internet there's been people who were saying, the guy who shot Thomas Matthew Crooks, who's like the shooter of Donald Trump, they actually spotted him 6 minutes, 3 to 6 minutes before him shooting at Trump. They saw him. Apparently or allegedly, the guy got a message not to engage, not to engage the guy who was aiming at Donald Trump. So they spotted him 3 minutes before the incident, but they didn't do anything, right? Another interesting fact is that the FBI, again, this is like the Secret Service. Someone in the Secret Service, spoke and told the other guy, he shouldn't shoot until the guy engages. And I'm like, why? But it's another story for another day. FBI guy, agent, whatever, they spotted this guy like 26 minutes before the incident. So one FBI agent went and spoke to him, got off the roof, and the next minute the guy disappeared, and he showed up again, and he had a gun on top of the roof. They saw him 26 minutes beforehand, So I'm like, what was the plan? Contingency plan. What was the contingency plan? Because now, if we were waiting for the guy to engage, why wasn't he approached? And I had a lot of questions to ask, to say, okay, like engage with him if he shoots or whatever, because like at the end of the day, Trump got hit and whatever that happened, But that's a topic for another day, even, And that's one of those questions that I was asking, So moving right along, so shout out to people like 50 Cent. I'm saying this because I think it's true to me. It might not be true to you. I just think 50 Cent is like the biggest troll on the internet. I don't care who you are. I don't care if who's this guy, Chris XL or whoever, but 50 Cent is one of those trolls in the internet. I get Chris XL, he is, the danger to society, to our society, but at the same time, I'm like, but 50 Cent doesn't read his face. He doesn't hide behind the screen, behind, an image of someone else, an alter ego of some sort. He doesn't. He does it as himself. He represents his thoughts and ideas as himself, and that you gotta respect. And whenever he throws shade, So people like Lakim have fallen victim to 50. Some saying Gucci, or 50 saying Gucci Lakim looked like an owl at some point where they were at the Met Gala, if I'm not mistaken. She looked like an owl. And I looked at it and I saw it and I was like, oh, 50 is on point with this one, but nobody at the the guts to say to her, to say like, oh, you look like an owl. But 50 had the guts to say that to her, via status, and even how the show power the entire enterprise, if I may engage you on that. I think he did say, Uguti, for us to win in this world, we need to align ourselves with the people who are doing well, your empires. You remember at some point, Empire used to be the talk of the town. It was very much nice to watch. That entire series was amazing. So it featured people like Lucius, who is, Terrence Howard, for those who don't know, and Cookie, who is Taraji P. Henson, for those of you who didn't know, just to mention a few characters. Those are the few characters in Empire. So they had to align themselves with such and such. So, and over time, they started being compared to Empire because of how their approach to marketing was. It was the alignment, and somehow they fell victim to that. People like Cookie started speaking about, power, and because of like relativity, they were like, yeah, we are better than you. Like that comparison, even if you don't qualify at that level, but the fact that we say we're on that level, and now it's a debate who's better, and like people get to learn each and episode which this show is a better show in comparison to Empire, speaking about power. And that's how they got to their level of infancy, so that's my opinion. Not really my opinion, but it's something I took from Tariq, who is Michael Jr. something. You know him, Michael, he plays the character of Tariq. So he was saying that that was 50 Cent's approach to marketing and being relevant in today's day and age of screen. That was his approach, So yeah, man, do let me know what you think about that, and if 50 is a genius for doing that. And do you agree with me when I say not future, man? 50 Cent is the biggest troll on the internet. And again, speaking about 50, and the reason I brought 50's name up, it's because currently, after the shooting of Donald Trump over the weekend, 50 was at a gig. Was he in the gig? I'm not sure which gig he was in. He used the cover art of, you remember, like Many Men, the cover art for that album, He used that cover art for that album. He changed his face. He put Donald Trump's face in the... Hey, he was singing the song in the Many Men. Many men. Many, 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 many men. If you know the song in the lyrics, you know, but it's relevant. Even though like Trump was only shot once and 59 times, but it's relevant. And 50 was the one who initiated that, and it went crazy on the internet. I'm sure a lot of you saw it, and that's why I'm like, 50 is actually the biggest troll, and he's able to maneuver and stay relevant because of the things that he does on the internet, So yeah, I think I did apologize, to the people. Now, if you just joined us, I did apologize for taking that lady who was saying that the Trump tweeting was a marketing strategy for Trump to make it on the headlines, or to reach more areas, reach more pockets or blind sides, or whatever the case may be, only to find out after listening to experts talk about it that I was ultimately wrong. And that's why I feel like I had to apologize to you for giving you information that's not true. It's alleged, that's not true, and I do apologize for that. And yeah, for those of you who are interested as to where the case is going, the shape of the case and the updates, I think the updates, as we wait, the FBI in the Quantico, Virginia, they're still investigating the case, and they took the phone of Thomas Matthew Crooks. They took it for investigation. They're interviewing his family and 100 other people that are closer to him. They're interviewing them as we speak. This is an ongoing case to find out a connection, but currently nothing is making any sense, and how he was able to plant or connect bombs in his car. And they're still tracing a minute to minute action of the late Thomas Matthew Crooks. So they're doing that as we speak. So because there's no connection as to like, was it something, just the kid who just did that because he doesn't have a bad record, he's always in time at work, never late, he doesn't have history with guns, A, B, and C, boom, boom, boom. He doesn't have all of those things. So now the question is like, what's the involvement? So the investigation is to actually find out if the case being investigated is actually what it seems like it is, or it's something bigger behind it. Was it a terrorist attack? I think maybe that's what they're trying to say. And I think during that entire ordeal that was happening regarding the Trump, China launched something into like the US. I think, is it the US or the grounds of the US? They launched something in the grounds of the US. They came through, penetrated, what. I didn't actually follow up on that story. I will for sure follow up and give you an update tomorrow with regards to the China guys coming through into US soil, So I'll just give you an update on that. So yeah, man, do let me know what you think about today's episode. I am your host with the most, Lesego M, the report, aka Future Short. Maybe you might get a chance to call me daddy. Like we've reached the end of today's episode of Backroom Convos with Lesego M. The book of the day is The Diary of a CEO, The 33 Laws of Business and Life by Stephen Bartlett, who is I was actually surprised to find out that Stephen Bartlett was actually, not actually South African. He's actually from Botswana, He's actually from Botswana. He's African, by the way. For those of you asking, he was born and raised in Botswana and later on moved into the United Kingdom, which is UK, United Kingdom. So that's the name of the book. The categories under business development and entrepreneurship in marriage and long-term relationship. It's the #1 Amazon bestseller, Runaway, #1 bestseller by Stephen Bartlett, entrepreneur podcaster and Dragon's Den star. So I'll just read what he says about the book. This is not a book about business strategies change like a season. This book is more about something much more permanent. So okay, I dig. So for those of you who've read the book, do let me know what you think about the book on the comment section. Is it worth the read, or should we pass on the book? Do let me know in the comment section. But I think it's really an interesting book. I might as well buy this book for myself. The book was released on the 31st of August 2023 last year, and currently the ratings are 4.7 out of 5, which is a good rating, and the numbers to be precise is 1,330 ratings of people that rated this book. That's how good it is. Do let me know again what you think about this book. I am your host with the most, Lesego M, the report, aka Future Short, and maybe you might get a chance to call me daddy like I wrote. Please do not forget to follow, like, and subscribe to get a notification for each and every time we drop a new episode. Have a lovely day. Cheers.